Hello, all of you. Very good day, dear students. So this is the first class, and we are going to study about geography. Geography is the subject which really don't nobody wants actually to study. Many of you actually take it very lightly, but geography is a very important subject, and you will see geography actually it is one of the very important applied subject. And every day, if you see, we need geography. So, dear students, in this first session, I will going to give you an introduction first of all about the syllabus. So, before we start the chapter, and I want to know you about the syllabus, that how you will going to deal with the syllabus. Well, so first of all, let's see. I am having the book, and I will going to teach you directly from the book. And in syllabus, first of all the topics are divided into 7 parts, or you can say 7 topics. So the first topic you will be studying about our world, in which you will be studying about Earth as a planet. Second, about the latitudes and the longitudes. Third is about the rotation and revolution. In the second topic, you will study about the structure of the Earth. Now, in the structure of the Earth, you will be studying first of all about the Earth structure. Second is the landforms of the Earth, in which you will study about the mountains, different types of mountains, different types of plateaus, plains, and their formations. In the third part of the second topic, you will study about the rocks. As all of you already have studied about the 3 most important types of rocks. What are they? They are sedimentary rocks, igneous rocks, and metamorphic rocks. And you will be just studying about the same three rocks, their formations, and about the rock cycle. In the fourth part of the second topic, you will study about the volcanoes, in which you will be studying about the different types of volcanoes. Then you will be studying about the effect of volcanoes, because the volcanoes have 2 types of effect. So both things you will going to study. The first thing is the destructive effect, but most of us we know that the volcanoes are destructive, but there are some constructive effect even, and you will be studying about the same thing in this topic. And you will be studying also about some important volcanic zones of the world. Well, the fifth part of the second topic, you will be studying about the earthquakes, the meaning of earthquake, the causes of earthquake, then the measurement, how the earthquake has been measured, the 2 types of measurement, the difference between them. Then you will be studying about the effect, that is destructive and the constructive effect, and about the earthquake zones of the world. Then the sixth part of the second topic, you will be studying about the weathering and denudation, that how actually they weathers the rock, and they helps in the formation of soils. So you will be studying about the detailed study of weathering, types of weathering you will study, about the physical weathering, chemical weathering, and the biological weathering. And even you will study in the same chapter, you will be also studying about the 2 examples of the stages of river, because river is the most important part, actually you can say it is the most important agent of erosion, and the different stages of erosion caused by the river, that you will be study in the same topic. Then also you will study about the winds, because wind also is the important agent of erosion. In fact, you can say these winds and the rivers, means the running water, they are the most important agents of erosion, and the same thing you will be studying. Then the third topic you will be studying about the hydrosphere. Well, hydrosphere, in class 9th you will study only one chapter, but this is very important further, because I will afterwards tell you that how the question paper actually, the question paper actually is set according to the different topics. Means from every topic the questions are asked, and if you see here, hydrosphere is very smallest topic. It is having only one chapter, and if you prepare this chapter thoroughly, and you will get one question that is of 10 marks in board examination, class 9 board examination. So in this way, hydrosphere for you is very important topic. Now in hydrosphere you will study about the meaning of hydrosphere. You will study about the tides, the formation and the pattern of tides. You will study about the ocean currents, the causes of ocean currents. You will study that how the ocean currents are formed. Then the different types of ocean currents which are found in different oceans. And then the fourth topic you will study about atmosphere. In atmosphere, the different parts are which you will study, means you will study the different chapters. They are composition and structure of the atmosphere. It will be a one chapter. Then another one is the insolation, meaning of insolation and terrestrial radiation. You will study about the factors affecting the temperature, latitudes, altitude, distance from the sea. These are the factors actually which affect the distribution of temperature, how it affects. So in detail you will study in this chapter. Another part of the atmosphere is the atmospheric pressure and winds. You will study about the meaning and factors that affect atmospheric pressure, major pressure belts of the world. Then you will study about the factors affecting direction, velocity of wind, pressure gradient, Coriolis effect. Then you will study, in this chapter you will study about the permanent winds, temporary winds, then special winds. These are the three types of winds you will study here. Then in the different categories of winds, like example periodic winds you will study. You will study the local winds, then the variable winds, how the local winds are different from the variable winds. You will study about the jet stream. It's a very small topic, but jet stream actually it affects the climate of India, and it's very important. So you will be studying about jet stream in this topic. Then the last part of the atmosphere you will be studying about the humidity, in which you will study about the meaning, difference between the relative and the absolute humidity, condensation, its form, what are the forms, example clouds, dew, frost, fog and mist. These all things you will study in the same category. You will study about the precipitation, the forms of precipitation, three important types of rainfall you will study in this chapter. Then after that, the fifth topic is pollution. Now this pollution is having, if you see in your book, it is having three chapters. In this one topic you will study about three topics, because pollution is the most important topic in the whole book, because this is a topic which is taken from the environmental education. So this is the most important, very easy topic, and if you prepare this one topic, you will be preparing 10 marks for the board examination. So I would like to tell you that you should take this topic very seriously. In this topic, you will study about the types of pollution, the sources of pollution, effects of pollution, and the last topic you will study about the preventive measures which is being taken to prevent the pollution or to control the pollution. After that, the sixth topic you will study about the natural regions of the world. This year in the examination, as we were checking the copies of the previous year students, and we have seen actually the students, most of them, they haven't attempted this topic, the question which is asked from this topic, because this is a one topic, one chapter, and 10 marks will be asked from this one chapter. Now because this chapter is very lengthy, but it is very easy also. So we prepare one chapter and you will be preparing 10 marks for the board examination. Well, in this you will study about the location, area, means the climatic regions, natural vegetations of the different climatic regions of the world, and their human adaptations. So in this climatic regions, some important climatic regions what you will going to study in the last topic, no sorry, not last topic, but last chapter it is. So in the last chapter, you will be studying about the equatorial region, then tropical grasslands, tropical deserts. You will study about the tropical monsoon region, Mediterranean type of climate, or you can say Mediterranean climatic region, then temperate grasslands, taiga and tundra. So altogether, these are the 9 climatic regions you will study in this chapter. And the last one is the last topic. It is not a chapter, but it contains 10 marks, and this is map work. So this is a map work, and here is a very clearly the things actually which will be asked in the examination, it is given here. So you don't have to practice everything, because many of you have not got the books, but some of you maybe have the old books. You may have arranged. If not arranged, you can try to arrange it, because this book actually is the Goel Prakashan book, the same book which we have used last year. This last year students, for which we have used this book. And so let's see first of all about the map, that what thing you will study in this map section. So first of all, the first thing about the natural regions of the world. The sixth topic, what I told you about the natural regions. Now these natural regions which are given in the different parts of the world, now you need to show it on the world map. Now this is only about the world map. You have to study only about the, means you have to mark and label the things on the world map. So the whole year actually you have to practice only the world map. But what things? So as you will get the book, you will find everything is very clearly is mentioned in the book, in the syllabus. So just let me, I'm just reading it for you. The first, let's see about the natural regions of the world. So first is the equatorial region, then tropical monsoon region, tropical deserts, Mediterranean type of climatic regions, tropical grasslands, temperate grasslands, taiga region, and the last one is the tundra region. All these regions you have to mark and label on the world map. In the map, all of you just note down. The two very important thing about the map is, number one is marking, and second thing is labeling. Both things is very important. Now if you mark anything on the map and you haven't labeled it, so it will be cut, means you will get 0. So this is why the technique to fill the map you need to learn, that is marking and labeling. Maybe in the previous class you have learned this technique, how to show the things on the map. Now let's read me some other topics, some other points here, important things. Now the second topic is in the map is the ocean, sea, gulf and straits. Now in the sea you will find not all the sea, means all the sea of the world. They are very specifically, the name of the seas are given, means you have to see about the Caribbean Sea, North Sea, Black Sea, Caspian Sea, South China Sea, Mediterranean Sea, Gulf of Carpentaria, Hudson Bay, Persian Gulf, Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of Guinea, Bering Strait, Strait of Gibraltar, Strait of Malacca. So these are the important seas. Now next is the rivers. So let's see which rivers you need to practice. First one is the Mississippi, second is Colorado, third is Amazon, fourth is Paraguay, fifth is Nile, sixth is River Zaire, seventh is River Niger, eighth is River Zambezi, ninth is River Orange, 10th is River Rhine, 11th is River Volga, 12th is River Danube, 13th is River Murray, 14th is River Darling, 15th is River Huangho, 16th is Yangtze Kiang, 17th is River Ob, which is found in Russia, 18th is River Indus, 19th is River Ganga, 20th is River Mekong. This river is found in Myanmar. 21 is River Irrawaddy. This is also in Myanmar. 22 is River Tigris. And 23rd is River Euphrates. So you will be studying, means you need to learn only about these 23 rivers. Now the next topic is mountains. So let's see which mountains you need to practice to mark on the map. The first one is Rockies, second is Andes in Europe, Himalayas in India, all of you know, Pyrenees, this is also in Europe, which actually forms a border, separates Portugal from Spain, Scandinavian Highland, Caucasus Mountain, Atlas Mountain, it is in Africa, Drakensberg, it is in South Africa, Kingan is in China, as the name suggests, Zagros in Iraq, Ural Mountain in Russia, Great Dividing Range is in Australia. So you can find here, you can see here that these are the important mountains which is found in the different continents, different countries. So only these mountains you will be learning about, these mountains only, how to fill it on the world map. Now the last topic of the map work is plateaus. So let's see which important plateaus. Very few are there. First one is the Canadian Shield in Canada, northern part of Canada. Second is Tibetan Plateau. You must be knowing about it. Second is Brazilian Highland. As the name suggests, it is in Brazil. Fourth one is Patagonia Patagonia Plateau, or we also call it Patagonian Plateau. You can also find it shown on the map as Patagonian Desert. So both plateau and the Patagonian Plateau and Patagonian deserts are the same. Another one is the Iranian Plateau, that the name suggests it is in Iran. And the last one is the Mongolian Plateau, which is in Mongolia. So these are the 6 plateaus you need to know how to mark it on the whole map. Let me have my coffee also. So this is about the syllabus which you will be studying about. Now syllabus wise, you have seen the whole thing, or you can say the whole syllabus is divided into 7 topics. But now we are going to see about the content, means the chapters. So all over you will be studying about 18 chapters and 1 map work. So map work, actually we can take it as a one separate chapter, so it will be making it a 19th chapter. So altogether there are 19th chapter you will be studying. In the first chapter I'm just reading the name of the chapters because many of you are not having the books, yet not got the book. Well, the first chapter is the Earth as a planet. Second is the latitude and longitude. Third is the rotation and revolution. Fourth is the Earth structure. Fifth is the landforms of the Earth. Sixth is the rocks and rock cycle. Seventh is the volcanoes. Eighth is the earthquakes. Ninth is the weathering and denudation. 10th is tides and ocean currents. 11th is composition and structure of the atmosphere. 12th is insolation. 13th is atmospheric pressure and winds. 14th is humidity. 15th is pollution, its types and sources. 16th is effects of pollution. 17th is pollution, the preventive measures. 18th is natural regions of the world. And the last topic or last chapter, you can say, it is not chapter given in the book, but we can take it as the last chapter, that is map work. So this is about the syllabus and content, and still we are having 15 minutes, and so let's start the first chapter. In first chapter I will be just giving you about the introduction about the first chapter. So those who are having the geography book, 9th class geography book, you can open the first chapter, that is Earth as a planet, and let's see here that what we are going to deal, means what you will going to study in this chapter. So first is about the solar system. This is just an introduction. So you will be studying, you will be given a very small introduction about the solar system, because Earth is a one planet of a solar system. And so before we start about the Earth, the explanation about the Earth, you will be studying about the small description about solar system. Then the main content of the chapter, that is Earth as a unique planet, you will study here. After this you will study about the realms of the Earth or the Earth sphere. In this Earth sphere, means in the realms, you will study about the lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, because already you have studied it in the previous classes. And the biosphere. Biosphere is not the fourth realm, but you will study, I will explain you how it is the fourth, not a fourth realm, but it is also a realm, important realm. So there are only 3 realms of the Earth. In the small classes, in the earlier classes, you have studied 4th realm, but in class 9th you will be studying it, that it is not 4th realm, it is just one realm, or the the section or the part where the life exists. So we'll see it afterwards, because I'm just dealing it about the content in this chapter. The fourth part of this topic is the shape and the size of the earth. Then there are many proofs were given which actually proves that earth is spherical. So the different proof you will study, like all celestial bodies are spherical, circumnavigation of the earth, line of visibility increase with height, sunrise and sunset is the one proof, horizon is circular. So we'll see it afterwards, some more are there. Then the another subtopic is the earth as the home of the humankind and conditions that exist here. So what are the conditions which exist on earth which helps to the life, because of which actually life exists only on earth? Because the scientists, they have researched and they have found that nobody has yet actually found the life in any of the planet in the whole universe. Life is only found on earth, and this is why earth is also called a unique planet. So we'll see it in the full description. Then you will study about some important cycles, like the nitrogen cycle, heat cycle, oxygen cycle, water cycle. One more cycle, but it is not given in the book, that is the carbon cycle also. Then you will study about the condition that favorable to life on earth. And the last subtopic you will study about the moon, because earth is having only one satellite, and it's very, very important. It plays a very, very important role in so many things. So that is about the moon. So this is the subtopics you will study in this chapter. So I think without wasting the time, let us start the first chapter. Still we are having the 10 minutes. So let's start the earth as we will see about the solar system. A very, very small description about the solar system. Now what is a solar system? Many of you must be knowing about that. What is solar system? Sun, together with all the planets and asteroids and even the satellites which revolves around the different planets, is known as solar system, because if you find there are 8 major planets which revolves around the sun. But beside these 8 planets, there are some minor planets also. In fact, previously, in the previous classes, you may have studied that the earth has, well, not has actually, we can say had, the earth had actually 9 planets, but actually Pluto is been omitted. So many of you must be thinking, why Pluto is omitted? Well, Pluto actually not was, we can say it is. So Pluto is actually a very, very small planet, and this is why the scientists, when they discuss together in one conference, and they decided that as Pluto actually is a very small and it doesn't fulfill many aspects of the planet, so it can be called as planet, and that's why they have omitted it and they have kept it into the group of minor planets. So what are the major planets? All of you must be knowing. Let me just read it for you. First is Mercury, second is Venus, third is Earth. So as you can see, the Earth has the third place from the Sun. After Earth there is Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. So these are the 8 planets which revolves around the Sun. Now between Mars and Jupiter there is a very big gap. Now let me just read you the distance of the planet all these planets from the sun. Now this will give you some glimpse, some description, Let's see here. Now Mercury, the distance of Mercury actually is only 58 million kilometer. So Mercury is the closest planet that lies only up to the 58 million kilometer from the sun. That's why it is the hottest planet. Second is Venus. It lies about 108 million kilometer far from the sun. Now third is Earth. The distance of Earth is 149 million kilometer from the sun. Now after this you will see about the Mars, and the distance of Mars is 227 million kilometer. Now when you see here, what I want to show you, now let's see here. The distance of Mars is 227 million kilometer, but when you will see the next planet, that is Jupiter, the distance of Jupiter is 779 million kilometer. So now I think you have understood what I want to show you. Now if you see the difference between the distance of Mars from the sun and distance of Jupiter. So the distance of Mars is only 227 million kilometer. But the distance of Jupiter is 778 million kilometer. What is the difference? Can you see? If you count it in your rough copy there, and it will be almost 550 million kilometer. The distance means the difference of the distance between the Mars and Jupiter is how much? 550 million kilometer. So what I want to show you now, afterwards also, if you see, Saturn is very far, 1433 million kilometer. Uranus is 2872 million kilometer. Neptune is 4495 kilometer. But the very important thing what I want to show you here, the gap which is between the Mars and Jupiter. So you will find actually between Mars and Jupiter there are many big and small rock particles. Some of the rock particles are so big that they are of the size of moon. They revolve around the sun. So what are these rock particles are called? Now we call them asteroids. What do you call them? We call them asteroids. Now there are the different actually theories are given by the different geographers, but one of the most common theory which is given, and according to that theory actually many scientists and the geographer, they believe that million and billions of years back there were two more planets were found between Mars and Jupiter. But what happened? They have collided with each other and they scattered in the whole region between Mars and Jupiter in a form of small and the big rock particles, and thus the asteroids were formed. This is a simple description about the formation of asteroids. And some of the asteroids actually which are very much bigger in size, and they are kept into the group of minor planets. Now let's see about the meaning of planet. The word planet actually is derived from the Greek word, and that word actually means wanderer. Wanderer means the heavenly bodies which roams freely in the universe. Well, we know that they are not free, they revolves around the sun. So this is just a small description about the solar system, because this is not in the syllabus actually, main syllabus. The main syllabus is the Earth. Why the Earth is a unique planet. This is the important, this is the main syllabus in this chapter. So let's start here about the Earth as a unique planet. So first of all, if you find here, the Earth is the third planet from the Sun and the densest planet in the solar system. Now, this Earth is the fourth largest terrestrial planet. According to the size actually, it is the fourth largest planet, well, terrestrial planets. Okay. Now in the whole solar system, it is the fifth largest planet. This is the fifth largest planet. Now one thing we'll see about some small description about the Earth. It's a very, very important description. Let's see, the first one is about the radiometric dating. Radiometric dating actually, this is a technique by which actually the age of some object can be found. So by this technique, radiometric dating, the Earth history is known to be 4.54, means 4.54 billion years old. And there are different actually theories are given about the origin of the Earth. But we will discuss some of the very important theories. According to some geographers, they believe that actually there was a one in the beginning actually, all the planets were the part of Sun, means they were in a form of molten magma found in the Sun. So what happened? According to one hypothesis, one theory, one very big star was just going very close to the Sun, and they named it as Nova Star. The hypothetical name actually they have given, they call it Nova Star. So as this Nova Star, it gets very close to the Sun, what happened? Because of the gravitational force of this big star, which was very, very big in size than Sun, a large amount of magma, that is molten magma, came out from the Sun. And as this magma came out, and this star also, it just went to its way. It just went to its way. And what happened? The magma which came out from the Sun, it gets divided into small and big particles and starts revolving around the Sun. And afterwards what happened? These ball of molten magma, they solidified and they all formed into different planets. Now this is one of the very important theory on which most of the scientists actually they agree. Now there are some more theories about the origin of the Earth, but I think we should not actually discuss about them. And let's focus in syllabus. Now next is another important point actually about the Earth is the Earth takes 365 days and one fourth day, that is 6 hours, So we can say 365 days and 6 hours to complete one revolution around the sun. And we call it revolution. All must be knowing about it, because this is the revision. So many things you will be seeing being revised, many things again. Now the circumference of the earth, which is very important. Now the circumference of the earth is about 40,000 kilometer, and the diameter of earth is 12,756.8 kilometer. So this is about the diameter and about the circumference of the earth. Now the total surface area of earth is about 510 million square kilometer. These are some important informations about the earth I am giving you. Now another one, all of you know that earth has only one satellite, that is moon. Well, so this is some important very important points. One more important point is the earth also rotates around its axis, and to complete one rotation earth takes 23 hours 56 minutes and 3 seconds. So this exact time we also call it sidereal day, because usually if you find in round figure we call it 24 hours, means earth completes its rotation in 24 hours, but this is the exact time. The exact time is 23 hours 56 minutes and 3 seconds, and this exact time which the earth takes to complete one rotation we call it sidereal day. So you may note down it in your copy. Next time when you sit there, I request you everybody, sit with the one copy and one pencil or pen, and whatever thing I will tell you, at least you note down the important points. Now let's start with the next subtopic, that is the realm of the earth. Now earth is a unique planet, already we have seen. Some of the more things we will see afterwards, right? So first of all, let's see about the realms of the earth. In the previous classes also you have studied that the earth has three realms. What are they? First is the lithosphere. Now what is lithosphere? The whole, the solid part of the earth, all the continents together, they form lithosphere. Now this lithosphere has two layers. The first upper layer is formed of silica and aluminium. The most common elements found in the first layer is silicon and aluminium, and that's why this first layer is also known as Sial. In short form we call it Sial. We also call it granitic layer. This first layer is also known as granitic layer. Below this first layer there is a second layer, and the major elements found in the second layer are silicon and magnesium, and that's why it is also called SEMA. Now this SEMA, we also call it basaltic layer. So this lithosphere has two layers in common. According to the most abundant element found in the layers, we can divide it into Sial and SEMA, or we can also call it granitic layer, that is first layer, and basaltic layer, that is the second layer. Now this whole lithosphere means the solid part of the earth. Now this actually occupies 29% of the earth. So lithosphere is only 29%. Solid part of the earth is only 29%. And 71% actually is water. and that forms the second realm, and we call it hydrosphere. Means all the water bodies. Actually, in the hydrosphere, all the water bodies are kept together, but you will find the major part of the water, or the large amount of water, about 99% of water you can say in approx, is found in the ocean and sea. And this is why ocean and the sea rightly are called as hydrosphere. But actually, when we talk about hydrosphere, even other water bodies like rivers, lakes, and even ponds are also included in hydrosphere. So you will see afterwards. The third realm of the earth is atmosphere. Now, what is atmosphere? If you'll find, the whole earth actually is surrounded by an envelope of air. So we can say, we can describe it as the envelope of air surrounding the earth is called atmosphere. So this air is colorless, tasteless, odorless substance, and is mobile, elastic, and compressible. This is about some important characteristic of the air, atmosphere. Air is a part of atmosphere. Now, this whole atmosphere again is divided into 4 layers. The first, or the most lower layer of the atmosphere, is called troposphere. Now this troposphere, the height of troposphere on equator is 16 to 18 kilometer. In some books you will find it is also given 18 kilometer, but in the most of the book it is given 16 kilometer. But this altitude, or the height of troposphere on the poles is only 8 kilometers. So what you will see, there is a difference of altitude on equator and on poles. On equator it is 16, while on poles it is only 8, just half. Afterwards, the second layer is stratosphere. Just above the troposphere there lies stratosphere. This stratosphere is also important layer, starting from the just above the troposphere. It just goes up to 80 kilometer. Now up to 18 kilometer, in general we call it stratosphere, but again actually this stratosphere can be divided into stratosphere, that is only up to 50 kilometer, and 50 to 80 there is mesosphere. Now this mesosphere not given in your book, that's why we have not taken it as a fifth layer, one more layer. So it is a part of stratosphere. So stratosphere and mesosphere. Just write down all of you. Now the third layer is ionosphere. Now this ionosphere starts from 80 kilometer and extends up to 480 kilometer. Now this ionosphere, it contains actually the electrically charged particles. We call them ions. And this is why this layer is called ionosphere. Further we'll see the importance of these ions present in the ionosphere. The last layer is exosphere. This is the outermost layer of the atmosphere, outer boundary of the atmosphere. So it starts from 480 kilometer and it continues up to 9,600 kilometer. Approximately in some books you will find it is given 10,000 kilometer. So in some books they have just made it approximately, so approx 10,000 kilometer, but in real it is 9,600 kilometer. So these are the 4 layers of the atmosphere. Now these are called also the 3 realms of the earth. What are they? Lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere. In the lower classes you have studied one more realm, what we call biosphere. But now according to this higher classes, now you will study that the biosphere is not the 4th realm. So there are only 3 realms. When it will be asked how many realms are there, so the answer is 3 realms. What are they? They are lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere. So biosphere, what is the biosphere? Biosphere is the realm which contains life. Now if you find actually about the life, life doesn't exist in the whole atmosphere. Even if you see, you will check it, you will find the life actually exists only in the first layer of the atmosphere, that is troposphere. And the height of troposphere is only up to 16 kilometers. So in the whole atmosphere we have seen that is up to 9,600 kilometer. In that only up to 16 kilometer the life is found. Same way if you find in the hydrosphere, so there are very, very deep parts of the earth where the life is not found. Life doesn't exist. And even you will find about the lithosphere, the scientists they have researched and what they have found. The life only exists on the earth, means above the earth's surface. Well, there are some microbes, or you can say some burrowing animals are there, which lives actually in the holes and burrows. But they also are living only up to a certain depth. How much? So it has been seen only few meters, only up to few meters in depth down under the soil. Some living organisms are found. So like this, if you see, the life doesn't exist in the whole lithosphere, neither in the whole atmosphere, and neither in the whole water bodies in the ocean. There are some very, very deep part of the ocean where the life doesn't exist. So we say this is a narrow zone. This narrow zone where life exists, we describe it as biosphere. So today class ends here. Have a good day everybody.